because the hacking, let me show you this. The hacking is, I wonder, was it the white hats doing it? FBI investigating suspicious cyber activity on systems holding sensitive surveillance information. Well, it turns out that the FBI on Thursday, yesterday, confirmed that its networks were targeted by suspicious activities without immediately providing further details. However, CNN reported the following. FBI identifies a suspected hack on a sensitive network used to manage wiretaps and intelligence surveillance warrants. Translation, FISA warrants. And the Associated Press reported that the FBI said this week that it is investigating suspicious activities on an internal system that contains sensitive information related to the surveillance, operations, and investigations. So to me, it would be, an early Christmas gift that the White House hacked into their systems and published all the names of the people against whom they obtained FISA warrants. That would be just amazing. So it said they did not specify who may have targeted the FBI system, known as the Digital Collection System. But it was obviously a highly sophisticated group that did this, or person. So more shall be revealed, and they have been very quiet about how much information came out, but clearly it had to do with the FISA surveillance. And that is always good news if somebody did it with a good intention, right? Now, this week, one of the topics that has been in everybody's lips has been the prohibited access. As you know, I told you last week how Susie Wiles and Kash Patel had been their Susie Wiles' phone conversation was listened to with her attorney. And as an attorney, I tell you, the only way they did that was because the attorney agreed to it, which was reported that he had agreed to it, but the attorney was denying it. Well, now we have that Kash Patel is revealing that he's taking steps to end the prohibited categorization practice following discoveries, including subpoena phone records of his own and others that were buried in such files during prior administrations. I don't know how to tell you so you can totally understand that this could mean, if they shut down the prohibited access files, this could mean the end of the targeting program. Because that is where the FBI criminals hide their crimes and misdemeanors. That is where they hide all of our information. That is why the form in the Targeted Justice website, specific for the Privacy Act request, specifically demands that they look in those prohibited and restricted access files. So there is a task force that has begun excavating the separate set of books that the FBI keeps using an inaccessible prohibited access file designation. According to multiple government sources, there is an internal fight over how to handle the files, because this is the big problem. A lot of the agents there are scared because their criminality is hidden in those prohibited access files. They never saw it coming that Chuck Grassley would get a whistleblower to provide him with the electronic communication proving these prohibited access files. They never saw it coming. And so there are a lot of them in there that are deep state criminals that are scared because they know that they committed crimes under color of law. So now one of the sources is said to have said, this is it, the deep state, the prohibited access files, that's what it consists of. the deep state. They say it contains off-books surveillance and disruption of political figures in the Arctic frost and Trump-Russia investigations. But the files extend, listen to this, as far back as 1999 across Democratic and Republican party presidencies, involving as many as 1,000 distinct case numbers. There are no rules for passing access to the system from one administration to the next. Instead, Operation of Prohibited Access File is described as an oral tradition, like in the Middle Ages, that they didn't even have books. It was an oral tradition, so there wouldn't be records. Passed down among senior FBI officials, independent of agents below and political appointees above in Congress and even the White House. If it weren't for the whistleblower disclosures to my office, said Chuck Grassley, the very existence of the FBI using prohibited access files for some investigations would have remained in the dark. But now we know that since at the very least 1999, it was operating. I want you to pay so much attention to this because I'm going to explain for those of you that have already received the Privacy Act reply saying, no, we didn't find anything. I'm going to be discussing it. So don't go anywhere because this is a very important episode. Please share it. This is really important for each and every person that wants to be free. So according to sources familiar with the matter, Kash Patel has formed this task force, and they are debating about it. I personally, Patel hasn't shown his willingness to shut down the deep state. I haven't seen it, let alone Bundy, let alone the deputy director, Bundy's deputy director, Todd Blanche. So, because one of the indications that they are hiding FBI malfeasance is that they are refusing to produce to Judicial Watch the evidence of how much money the FBI paid Twitter to have a little office there and censor our stuff, because they didn't censor the accounts of influencers. No. They censor the accounts of targeted people. That is, I am 99% that is the truth. Anyway, so Tom Fitton has to be fighting them, and they are refusing to show, and this is public information of public interest. And they're saying that it's law enforcement tactics and techniques. No, it is illegal for you to go to a social media platform and censor speech, period. That is an uncontroverted matter of law. Anyways, so today there was a hearing. Matt Taibbi was had a show regarding these prohibited access files. As you know, Matt Taibbi was the one that exposed. He's been onto the FBI. He exposed the Twitter files. That was him. And he is now onto the prohibited access files, and he testified in Congress before Senator Rand Paul, in the Quiet Skies investigation. So he is very much invested in exposing the FBI criminality and the misuse of watch lists and the misuse of these prohibited files. So today I was a digital warrior and I commented on his show, and I think he's on the right track. Now, Taibbi claims that only 5 people have full access, only 5, because remember about the security clearances. Maybe Kash Patel does not have the security clearance to enter into these prohibited access files that have to be at least level 35, because as you know, that is the level of security clearance for Ultra, which is the human experimentation torture program that many of us are in. Okay, so the when the people do a search, right, even in the Sentinel, a false negative appears. Just like Ed Martin. Remember Ed Martin on day one that Chuck Grassley exposed this said this is very problematic for two reasons. Number one, because it prevented people, the agents, from providing Brady and Jenks materials to criminal defendants, which is a constitutional obligation as per the Supreme Court. And number two, how many FOIA requests were denied because the information was hidden in the prohibited access files. Well, the access, even though it is very limited, it is accessible, even though whistleblower Kyle Serapin said that he said his opinion, he never dealt with them and he didn't think that they existed. For those of you that saw the part of the interview that I uploaded to my Substack, you can watch him say this. He said that maybe some of them are gone. Now, that those prohibited files, he compared them to La Isla de la Muerta in the Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a place that can only be found if the person that created the file knows they created it. Now, other than that, I want to talk about the importance of the Privacy Act movement that we're carrying out. And it is this. As many of you that have already sent your request, you have to put in there the language. You cannot just look in the central record system. And I'm going to show you the comparison now. You have to look in the prohibited and restricted access files. And the reason is this. Let me show you the comparison here between the two, okay? Central record system and the Sentinel are both key components of the FBI records, right? And case management, but they serve different purposes. The Central Record System was established in 1921. It mostly is composed of, it's for indexing and reference system for locating records across the vast holdings of the FBI. The Sentinel was established in 2006 and upgraded to all the field offices in 2012. Sentinel is the modern electronic case management system that replaced the older automated case support ACS system. So all the current information, including the historic files of that current information, are located in the Sentinel. And the Sentinel also contains the prohibited access records. So the Central Record System is basically physical records that are in a storage facility of the FBI. The Sentinel is completely electronic, and it has the active and ongoing investigative and intelligence case files in a fully digital environment. Electronic documents, workflows, tasks, leads. That's where the FISA warrants have to be, okay? That is where your nomination form has to be. And so it's entirely digital, web-based, with features like drop-down menus, previews, and integration elements. So when they lie to you, when the FBI criminals at the FOIA office lie to you and tell you that they didn't find anything, it's because they did not look where they had to look. They went to the Central Record System as a matter of custom, but it's because it says that the FOIA and Privacy Act requests are that's what the Central Record System is used, of course, to hide information from you. But when you look at the Privacy Act, the definition of what a record is and what a system of records is, you can see that the system of records where they have an obligation to look for your name and your records is a group of any records under the control of the agency. Any records about you, even those that they are hiding because of their malfeasance. So when I tell you this is that they the basis of your appeal has to be, that you cannot limit your search to the central record system, because the Privacy Act demands that you search all agency records. They cannot, and I don't care if only 5 people at the FBI have access to the prohibited access, because you know what? Those 5 people have to look up your information and produce it. And that is what one of the goals is. Even though, like I have said, the people in the United States do not have to exhaust administrative remedies in the context of a Privacy Act request, we are asking that you file your appeal so that they don't have available that argument that they didn't exhaust remedies. Yes, we did. Because I'm going to be filing that lawsuit. And I don't know, for those of you that have your documents ready, we are going to file that lawsuit, and we are going to demand to see our records at the FBI. If they gave them, and at the DHS, if they gave them to Christine Crowder, her nomination form, and all the surveillance they were doing on her, they have to give it to us. That's number one. The same with TSA. If you do your Privacy Act request with TSA, if they gave Tulsi the flight logs, the name of the people, the summaries of the information they submitted about her and her husband, we have the same right under the Equal Protection of the Laws and under the Privacy Act. This is one way we can expose the program. These vehicles, these mechanisms were not available before. They are available now in black and white. We have testimony from FBI agents. We have admissions and documents from Senator Grassley and from Kash Patel. We have never been in a historic moment like this. And I just want you to grasp the importance of it and how we are, I believe, in a very good place. So I'm going to just leave it at that. I want to do some housekeeping. First of all, again,